Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News or Trader Talk with our friend Charting Man Dan. How are you today, Dan?
Good. How are you, Alex?
Pretty good, mate. Pretty good. Right, that's tightening up on all time frames here. So today we're going to talk about the Bulls versus the Bears. And do you want to start, Dan, in terms of what you're seeing on the chart in terms of that battle?
Yeah, it's just, Bitcoin is the leader, obviously, and it's just a really tight equilibrium. And it's very clear on the daily where you can see higher lows, lower highs. People that watch my videos hear me say that all the time. And I like it more on the 4 hour time frame at this point for clarity, just because it gives us more details. And we can see a setup that's forming right now where it's a version of what happened back just a couple days ago, the 7th and the 8th, where we had the higher low, higher high pattern on the 4 hour time frame that then led to a very fast dump that formed our higher low. And now we're doing the same slow and steady climb, which could lead to a dump tonight to continue to tighten this pattern. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for one more lower high to be set on this move. And then I'm looking for a break very likely tomorrow, if not tomorrow, certainly by Friday, because we get to a point where it's just so tight, we literally can't trade any tighter.
Yeah, and we're probably seeing that in social media and in those fundamentals on what people are sort of saying. You know, is the bottom in versus there's another crowd that's saying, oh, we're definitely looking for another leg down. A lot of people want us to at least revisit 6,000. And then I think there's another thought that we need a washout. I'm not sure, are you hearing that as well? That sort of, we need a flush, we need another capitulation. But that doesn't always happen to mark the low. Sometimes you can just grind it out.
Right, and that's what I prefer. So those are my most successful trades when we do have those flush V-shaped bounces. But like you said, sometimes there are more rounded bottoms, and it's what you said, the fundamentals. It's showing right now indecision. It's showing a split market in terms of bulls and bears. And what could happen, because shorts are at all-time highs, is if we do get a bull break, it could magnify the move pretty quickly. And especially if there's more people leaning bearish and then we go bullish, that's when the move's going to be more magnified. And when the break occurs, it's going to be marked by a spike in volume. It always is. Every equilibrium, when the break occurs, there's a volume spike. So signal number one will be volume. That's the most important indicator aside from price levels in this tightening pattern.
Yeah, so obviously that's important to look at the break. But have you noticed that the volume, a lot of people are saying, oh, the volume isn't what I would like to see in this sort of accumulation rounded bottom phase. But on the flip side of that, we're hearing that a lot of big orders are going on in the background, OTC, and we're going to have someone on the channel soon who's at the coalface to talk about all that. But do you think that that maybe is affecting the charts and people getting a false sense of, oh, there's not a lot of accumulation from the big buyers here, whereas maybe that's not happening on the exchanges per se?
Not really. I don't think. I would expect very low volume. It's a trademark of the equilibrium pattern, just volume completely disappearing until we get to a tight enough point where it just spikes. I used to call it the rubber band effect before I called it an equilibrium pattern, because it's like you're taking a rubber band and you're pulling it tighter, 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 and then when it snaps, you get the volume spike, and that's when the volatility picks back up again. And we're on the verge of that happening, and we're going to see a lot of action. And the reason that that volume spike occurs is because you have both sides of traders are acting based on the price changes. So you're either having a bull break with bulls buying in and shorts covering, or you're having a bear break with bulls getting stopped out and shorts entering position. So it's a climax of activity in one direction that causes the surge and the follow through on the break.
Yeah, so I'll just bring up those shorts now as well, because they just continued to get to record highs. So just in the last few hours, they had that break and a few positions get closed. So I think that was about a 3% reduction in shorts resulted in about a 1.5% move in Bitcoin. So the numbers are around 40,000 shorts on Bitcoin. So again, if we get that move, that break to the upside, as you say, and the volume comes in, I think that's going to be bigger in percentage terms of that rubber band effect, when all those shorts have to start to panic and say, oh, wow, maybe the bottom is in and cover. So do you think the knee-jerk reaction is going to be bigger to the upside than if we get that break to the downside?
I do. I do think that would be the more unexpected move. So I do think that that's, when something unexpected happens in the market's really good at pricing things in, news events or things like that. And the more unexpected an event or something that happens, the bigger the reaction. And so I think right now there is a slight bearish lean due to the prolonged downtrend. And I do think that would be the more unexpected break if we do break bullish.
Awesome. Well, any final thoughts, Dan? It's probably going to be another 2 weeks until we talk next, and this pattern will have broken by then. So any final thoughts, mate?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. Number one, keep an eye out for news. I find so many times in the stock market world that news is just too perfectly timed on really tight patterns to be a coincidence. So I would not be surprised if there's a group, if they're making a bet on a certain direction right now, that they've got, you know, some kind of news or something up their sleeve in terms of putting it out there right at the right time. So that's something I'm going to keep an eye out for. And the other thing is, even if we do break bullish, we cannot lose sight of the longer term weekly charts, because a bullish break on Bitcoin is only going to give us an equilibrium on the weekly chart, best case scenario for the bulls.
Yeah.
So that would put us back, you know, if we make our move to the mid $8,000 range, high $8,000 range, we'll be in a perfect tight weekly equilibrium that will give us another tightening pattern to watch. And that one will probably play out until, you know, June or July into the summer, if we do get this daily bull break.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of work to do on the long term to break that downtrend, as you say. And on that other point, even in terms of individual projects we work with, a lot of them don't want to put news out until the market conditions are better as well. So it happens on the small scale as well as the overall market. So good point to raise there. Well, thanks, mate. Good luck with everything, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.